Hi everybody, welcome back. My name is Bill up at Beck Machine. Got a really cool project for you today. Wanted to share it with everyone. We're going to be turning brass on the Tormach CNC, specifically neck turning for the 6 PPC cartridge. Neck turning has always been a very mundane task for me, and when I first started out competitive shooting, like everybody else, we started out with probably hand tools. They had to find some method to capture the brass and lock that in, either route that into a like a gear motor, a 90-degree gear motor, or possibly an electric drill, and then a couple of passes with the cutting tools with a Sinclair model right here. But anyway, trying to find the right expanding man rule and going through all the processes that we did, it took a long time, and as I said, it was pretty mundane. So I then graduated to my manual machine. I wanted to come up with a little bit different method of doing it that wasn't so labor intensive, and I accomplished that a few years back. I'm going to show you that in case some of you guys want to look at the setup that I'm using for the manual purposes, and then we're going to go and show you the fixture that I built and how I do it on the CNC. So with that, we'll go over to the manual machine and we will get it set up so you can check that out. Alright everybody, we're over at the manual machine, my ISIN 1340 machine, and we'll kind of go through the setup. Here is the mandrel that you'll be turning, and I use 304 stainless. That's 3/8 to 1/2 inch, whatever you want to use for that. You turn your mandrel exactly 2 bullet diameter, so then you can just take your mic and measure the outside diameter for your neck clearance. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there is a solid stop right here. It's probably 15 thousandths that the brass gets pushed up against. And what I've done is I kind of copied the Sinclair case driver holders, I guess is what they are called, and put a little bit different head on it so you push the brass on. Obviously you'd put some lube on that, start the brass right there, and then use your tailstock, and you would crank it all the way up to that stop, then back it off. At that point you would obviously get the machine running, do a manual turn back to the shoulder, and you can set your DIRO for how deep you want to cut into the shoulder, and from that point then engage the power feed on the carriage, and move all the way across the part, disengage it. The main problem that I had with this system is trying to extract the brass off the mandrel. It's a pretty tight fit, so I'm using part of the case driver holder from the Sinclair. I actually slide that over, and then back that in a little bit on the tailstock, kind of get in the way here. But you just basically rotate it enough, and then you can pull the brass off. The brass comes out, then you have to take that off, set that over there, relube your mandrel, and then go ahead and start another case. Alright, we're back over at the Tormach, and I wanted to show you guys the fixture first before I mount it on the machine that I built. This guy here is the Brassinator 9000. I built this for one specific purpose, and that was to mount on the carriage, fast, easy, get it lined up, turn the brass, pull it off. What I did is I kind of copied the design that I saw for some of the drilling attachments. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's got a few pivot points here. You push it on and off. Just kind of a block here that's got pretty close to the carriage width on it. Just an L block here that's mounted for the center. Piece of, I think it's an old gun barrel right here on that. And it was a lot of tinkering around, kind of come up with, get the right dimensions here so it would pivot nicely. But now that it's done, this guy works really, really well, and it's fast and it's easy. And we're going to go ahead and get it mounted up onto the Tormach and show you that. It has 2 insertable tips for it. One has got a very tight tolerance hole that's drilled in it for a 243-2, and that's what I align it with. And the second tip that it has, this is what I actually push the brass on the mandrels with. It's got a little piece of radius brass insert in there. So So let's go ahead and get it on the machine and show you guys what it looks like. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and mount the fixture on the carriage on the machine. Simply place that on. There is a stop right down here. I don't know if you can see that. I'll snug these two up. The first insert in. Screw that tight up against the little ram in there. And then obviously you can see we're off quite a ways on the alignment. I have already turned a couple pieces of brass on this, so I know what my dimension is on my DRO. I'm going to set that now. And then we'll have to move the Z back a little bit. And that's pretty close. You can see that when we slide the mounting fixture on, it lines up perfectly. And this is more or less preset with the stop down there. And then we just snug this up a bit. Double check the alignment. I don't feel it hitting anything there. We'll unscrew and remove the alignment tip. I'm going to go ahead and install the pusher tip. Snug that up, and now it's ready to go. We'll go ahead and get the camera repositioned so you guys can see the cycling on it, and then we'll get a close-up on the mandrel. We'll talk about that. Alright guys, so we've got the tool in a position now, and kind of show you a little bit on the mandrel again. So what you got, it's 304 stainless. Here's the solid stop right here, and that's where the brass will be pushed up against every single time. The toll's about 850. I think this is 200. I have to look at my print and see what I got on that, with an 11-degree lead in for the brass right here. And once again, the mandrel itself has to be turned exactly true, and 2 bullet diameter. It makes it very easy with a micrometer to use. Just using a stock tool. This insert is for aluminum, works very good on brass actually. And the combination between the 30-degree shoulder and this gives me about 1.5 degrees. I don't want to follow the full 30-degree shoulder on the PPC. I want to be a little steeper than that. Cut slightly into the shoulder. So this one is already done. You put a little bit of oil on the mandrel. Put the brass up against that. You push it up to the stop. And then to extract the brass off, once the step is done, I use this little tool that I made. It just goes on, and you just pull the brass off. And typically when I'm standing there, I don't have it fall down. I grab it with my hand. That's the basic concept of the fixture. All right, everyone, we're back. I've got the fixture mounted on the machine. We're going to run a few pieces of brass so you can see how it works. Put a little bit of oil on the mandrel. Just put the part in like that, center it on the fixture. Give it a push up to the stop on the mandrel. Then we use the extraction tool. You guys can see that. Then we just line that up on the slot on the brass and on the tool. Hold it, give it a little pull, and off it comes. Alright, a little bit of oil on the mandrel. Push it up to the stop. Alright, we're going to do a couple of these just so you can see how you would actually do it under full speed conditions without working around the camera. Total cycle time on the machine is 10 seconds. Okay, well, that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Here's a couple pieces. I don't know if I can get in close enough where you can really get a good view of what that looks like. There we go. That looks a little better. Anyway, the brass comes out perfectly uniform around the neck, and you can control it very, very closely. Do some custom brass turning for anybody that you want. And once you get your manual set up, then it's just a matter of basically using your mic on the outside diameter. You can pull that piece of brass off and measure it thickness. You can actually put a bullet in it and measure the outside diameter, which is what I do to make sure it's right on the money. Hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.